Hey guys, this is my channel now. Sevagoth was that frame for a really long time. You know, the one you got and immediately after leveling up, subsumed because Gloom just felt better on literally anyone else? Sure, I didn't even play the game at the time, but shh, no one needs to know. Lately though, Sevagoth has been getting better and better. First, he gets an augment for Reap that made him into a great weapons platform, which was really the first time anybody paid any sort of attention to him. Then, he got another augment for So, that at first glance might not seem all that crazy, but when paired with the first one, well, now you can do this to enemies no matter their level. At this point, Sevagoth has become one of, if not the, best nuke frames in the game, or at least, that's what Kai tells me. So if you disagree, don't yell at me, yell at him. When you cast Reap, Sevagoth sends his shadow forward in a straight line, 10 meters per second on a tap, or 20 if you hold it down. But the fun part? If you ADS while it's flying, it'll home in on your reticle, even dodging obstacles automatically. Once it reaches your target though, it'll just kind of ominously spin around in circles. Meanwhile, the shadows let out a harrowing wail, because of course it does, weakening enemies in an 8-meter radius with some light radiation damage. But the real utility is Death's Harvest, a debuff that makes enemies take 50% more damage. Oh, and it also fills Sevagoth's death well, but let's be real, we don't really care about that part. So, yes, this frame actually reaps and sows. Ha ha ha. Ha. So does exactly what you'd expect, planting a death seed in enemies within 16 meters, making them take 250 true damage per second for 11 seconds. But here's the cool part. Reaping a sown enemy will make them take 25% of their HP as true damage, and also deal that 25% as blast damage in a 4-meter radius around them. And the best part, that explosion, no damage fall off. This works so well because true damage in Warframe is pretty rare. It ignores armor entirely, dealing damage straight to the enemy's HP. Now, you might think, oh, just reap an enemy 4 times and they're dead, right? No. Since it's 25% of current HP, the damage keeps getting smaller each time. Unless we increase the damage vulnerability. To one-shot enemies, we need to turn that 25% HP chunk into a full 100%. And for that, we need to stack 400% damage vulnerability. Luckily, that's not too hard when you've got Death's Harvest boosting damage by 50%, Viral procs multiplying it even further up to 325%, and Roar adding another 77.7% on top. Put all that together and suddenly anything you reap just dies. But honestly, we don't even need to go that far. Since reaping a sown enemy also causes a 25% HP explosion in a 4-meter radius, enemies naturally end up chain reacting into one another, stacking all that damage on top of itself until everything just disappears. And this is before we even throw in the augments. Shadow Haze might sound like it's all about giving your weapons extra crit chance, which, cool, if you want to just play a worse version of this build, but the real reason we use it comes when you kill an enemy. That's when a brand new shadow spawns up to 3 at a time. Unlike your original shadow, these guys are fully autonomous, seeking out enemies on their own while still carrying all the power of your original Reap cast. Of course, since these new shadows trigger Death's Harvest by themselves, it only makes sense to add in the second augment, Dark Propagation. This one makes it so that any enemy killed while sown will re-trigger the ability in a 15-meter radius, which means if you've got a big enough group of enemies, they just keep spreading the explosion over and over again, creating a potential infinite nuke loop. At this point, the build is really what makes everything work so well.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, May, but before you talk about that, I've got to show you guys the new game that has been taking up all of my time, Terminal Brigade. Terminal Brigade is an action roguelike co-op shooter that will be releasing very soon, set within the Nullverse and containing multiple different heroes. This game is honestly some of the most fun I have had in a while. Roguelikes in general are just a really fun game genre for me, and this game combines that aspect with some of my favorite things from other games, namely Warframe. You see, each hero has unique abilities and weapons that when combined with the very robust perk system and insane perk combinations you can acquire during each run, make both gameplay very fun and also give you a really strong power fantasy while still keeping the difficulty present, because I was kinda getting destroyed if I didn't lock in. My personal favorite character was definitely Blade because her melee aspect seemed really powerful while still being super flashy, and in this particular run, the set of perks acquired turned me into this game's equivalent of Gyre if she was also Excalibur, which come on, that's always gonna be fun. Terminal Brigade is absolutely going to be one of the biggest games to release this year, and I hopefully won't spend too much time on it instead of Warframe. But yeah, nah, I'm about to play this game all day for real.
Both augments are obviously required, but strength-wise, we push it as high as mod space allows, hitting 259 with Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, and Molt Augmented. That boosts the damage vulnerability from Reap to 129.5% and Roar's bonus to 77.7%. Range is set to 175%, maximizing the nuke radius without sacrificing so much strength that the whole thing stops working. Plus, it also buffs Gloom, which, speaking of, let's talk about how we actually stay alive during all this. Gloom. Yeah, it's Gloom. If you've played this game for more than 5 minutes, you already know what's coming. Slows enemies down, heals you whenever they take damage, but don't underestimate just how ridiculous that slow is. With 175% range, Gloom covers 28 meters, which is enough to make enemies entirely unable to shoot you. And even if something does get a hit in, that's where shield gating comes in. Because this is an ability spam build, you're constantly casting, which means catalyzing shields, brief respite, and 3 auger mods basically turn Sevagoth invulnerable. With 74 shields post-catalyzing, a 270% energy to shield conversion rate at 130% efficiency means Reap costs 17.5 energy but restores 47.25 shields, while Snowfield's 94.5. In other words, you are functionally immortal from base steel path all the way to level cap. Now you might be wondering, wait, 130 efficiency? Well, we didn't even mod for it. And that's where Seismic Bond comes in. This mod gives up to 30% more efficiency just for having a companion deal damage while a channeled ability is active. Easiest solution? Just bring a Panzer. Not only does it activate Seismic Bond, but thanks to Synth Deconstruct, the viral quills it spreads also makes enemies more likely to drop health orbs for equilibrium. Said equilibrium doesn't come through the mod though, rather some purple shards, which should be combined with some ambers for casting speed. For the rest of your loadout though, honestly, you don't even need anything else. The whole build is just spamming the first 2 abilities over and over again. So, that rounds out my first ever video. I paused and I'm adding my own stuff. You suck. I paused eating pizza rolls to be here, guys. But it's better than literally anything Kai has ever made, right? Honestly though, this build is just really strong. Granted, I don't even have it on my main account, but I do on Kai's. And wait, can we cut that out? Okay, come watch me stream like every other day at a very unreasonable time. See you soon. Bye.